The February 25th regular meeting of the Newark Board of Education is now called to order. Please stand for the flag salute.
Call to order. Quiet.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so you want to go back? You want to go back and read the stage? It's fine. Okay.
We're good. Read it and go roll. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 1046 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luz Americana newspapers, and by distribution to the administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of the meeting notice was also forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular advisory board meeting for Tuesday night, February 25, 2014.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Hassan.
Present.
Mr. Kenny. Mr. Lewis. Here. Ms. Matthias. Dr. McCreary. Ms. Perello.
Present.
Mr. Rashidi.
Here.
Mr. Sellinger.
Present.
Chair Basketball Richardson.
Present.
Student Rep. Mr. Thomas.
Present.
Quorum is present, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will now have greetings and student recognitions. Rafael Hernandez, School Principal. Juan Carlos Ruiz.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Board President Basketball Richardson, Advisory Board members, Valerie Wilson. Good evening, parents, community members, teachers, staff members, and my fellow colleagues. It is often said that children are our future leaders, and I'd like to add that they are not only our future leaders, but they are our current leaders. You're going to see it is our responsibility to guide them to take on that leadership role and to inspire the kids to follow their passion, as they also inspire us to do the same. Tonight, you're going to see an example. You're going to be able to hear two groups of Rafael Hernandez school leaders, a group of 4th through 8th grade choral leaders, as well as a group of first grade leaders, and 8th grade leaders that will join that first grade group. The first group, the 4th to 8th choral group, they're going to sing Be First, and in honor of the great man that our school is named after, Rafael Hernandez. The second group, the first graders, will sing El Cumbachero. So sit back, everyone, and enjoy. I want to thank our leaders for putting on this performance, for practicing, and for the teachers who help ignite that passion, specifically Mr. Suter and Ms. Muja. I would like to recognize my staff that are here at this meeting. If you could please stand up, Rafael Hernandez staff. Thank you for coming and being here. We love you. And once again, thank you all for coming to our school, and I thank you for the opportunity to host today's meeting. So sit back and enjoy.
You're going to have to squeeze together, shoulder to shoulder. forward. Face forward. Up here, stand away from the wall. Right here. I know. Look at all of them. Stand right here. Come here. Come here. Face forward. Smile. Away from the stage.
You're gonna give him.
Face forward. Face forward. Hands at your side. Side. Face forward.
Excuse me.
At this time, I would like to recognize a very special student and an 8th grader here at Rafael Hernandez. Her name is Stephanie Torres. Stephanie is being recognized for several reasons. Actually, the list is so long, I could not possibly read the whole list. There are about 20 or over 20 accomplishments of Stephanie's here on this list. She's a student council member for 4 years. She's currently the student council president. She helps autistic children every Saturday morning at St. Michael's School. Altar server at Mass every Sunday. Volunteers at a soup kitchen. It goes on and on and on. I don't even know which ones to pick. Organize chaperones at school dances. Organize and implements an annual coat drive. Annual school toy drive. Member Huntington Learning Center. She plays the violin and performs at NJPAC. And it goes on and on and on. So Stephanie, congratulations to you. This is a recognition that is well deserved. We will now have parent recognition by our Constituent Services Committee. Mr. Kinney, Chairperson of Constituent Services.
Good evening. Each day throughout the district, hundreds of parents are making a difference in our schools, supporting their children's academic successes by volunteering. The Newark Public Schools Board Constituent Services Committee wishes to recognize and express its appreciation to those parents and community members who devote their time, share their talent, and resources with children, staff, and administrators to improve the quality of our schools and the lives of our children. Each month, this board will continue to recognize parents and guardians who support our district-wide parental involvement program consisting of activities focusing on parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and community involvement. Nominated by their child's school administration, we are proud to announce tonight's award recipients. Our first honoree is Carmen Rojas from Roberto Clemente School. Ms. Rojas has been a dedicated PTA vice president for 2 years. She is a chairperson of Roberto Clemente PTA Advisory Committee. She also wrote letters and campaigned for implementation of speed humps and signage for speeding near the school. Again, that's Ms. Carmen Rojas. Our second honoree is Purity Kahigi from Technology High School. Ms. Kahigi is a hands-on volunteering member of the Parental Involvement Committee. She participates in decision-making for programs and activities in Technology High School. Again, that's Ms. Purity Kahigi. And our last recipient is Veronique Harper of Rafael Hernandez Schools. Ms. Harper has volunteered for the last 9 years. Every day she's worked with staff, teachers, and students, also organizes donation drives for needy families, volunteers during our weekend and after-school function, and is an active participant in school-wide decision-making. That's Ms. Harper of Rafael Hernandez School. Let's give our honorees a round of applause and a big thank you for all the work that you do on behalf of children in Newark Public Schools. Yeah, he was actually, if you were at the last meeting, he was recognized last month. Yeah, if you missed the board meeting, he was recognized last month.
Thank you, Mr. Kinney. We will now have the report of the student representative, Mr. Jordan Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And good evening, everyone. Though plagued by inclement weather and abundant school cancellations recently, the month of February still proved to yield a multitude of opportunities for student involvement and apprehensions. In regards to the erratic weather experienced during the month, a myriad of students and parents alike expressed discontent about the way in which notice of school closure on February 3rd was not received until approximately 15 minutes before the commencement of the school day. As a result, several students and parents were inconvenienced as they traveled unnecessarily through hazardous conditions and, at some schools, stood outside of the school until official notice of school closure was confirmed. Fortunately, similar issues were not experienced in the subsequent days of school closures, and the district is commended for giving notice far in advance and having rectified a hectic situation. In addition, students in some schools have reported difficulty in obtaining fee waivers for college applications. In the event that a student is experiencing such complications, it should be noted that fee waivers can be obtained by way of a request from collegeboard.com or, depending on the financial situation of the student, from the admissions office of the institution to which that student is applying. Also, one extraordinary and admirable endeavor of students in the past weeks has been their engagement in the Newark mayoral campaign. For instance, a youth organization by the name of Youth for Baraka has been founded in support of the election of candidate Raz Baraka, and similar instances of involvement have been displayed by students across the district. Undoubtedly, to see students exhibit passion over a matter that will have such a significant impact on both the city and its schools is a direct testament to the character of students within the Newark Public Schools system. Surely, with both the students and central administrators of the district working so assiduously, I am sure that we will collectively realize our dreams of the best Newark Public Schools system conceivable. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Just go to approval of this.
You want to go to approval?
Yeah, if you want.
No, we'll do my report and then do all the voting together.
Okay.
We will now move to item 8, report of the board chair. So first, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I want to thank everyone for your patience in this small space. I do want to say that I did make a request, and other board members were certainly in agreement with that request, that this meeting be held in a larger venue. So we want you to know that we did make that request. So I just want to take a moment to congratulate all of the students who are here tonight, as well as any other students who might hear this message. And the board wishes to encourage you to continue your hard work, and even if you're doing really well, to always try to do better. You just got your report cards, and you realize that you're past the halfway mark for this year. And we just want you to take a moment and reflect and to make yourself a promise to stay vigilant and to do the best that you can for the remainder of this school year. You have the opportunity between now and June to learn so much and to accomplish so much. So I want to do a quick update on the return to local control and fiscal management. So what has happened right now, we had expected for the memorandum of understanding to be finished at this time, but what happened was that the person who was given that responsibility by Commissioner Cerf was transferred to another department, and we all know that Commissioner Cerf is leaving on Friday. So this did This did raise concern for us about how the memorandum of understanding for return to fiscal control would be completed. We did reach out to the commissioner's office, and we did get a quick response, and that responsibility has been given to someone, and we are going to stay on schedule, and we expect that, as with the original schedule, that the memorandum of understanding for local control will be completed soon, and no matter at what point it's completed, it would go into effect on July 1st. So I just have been updating you on that, and I just want you to know that with everything that's going on, we're still working very hard on that, and we expect that that will happen the way that it is supposed to. So unfortunately for this board, while other boards of education in almost every other city in the United States are engaged in discussion of their budgets for next year, their superintendent evaluations and contracts, and reviewing programs and curriculums to affect their students for next year, Newark Board of Education and the Newark community are constantly sidetracked by assault after assault after assault. Schools have been renewed and re-renewed, and we don't have a higher measure of achievement to show for it, but we do have illogical co-locations that neither the parents nor the long-term Newark residents want. We have school closures and buildings for sale without public hearing or vote. We have over $50 million spent on an excess pool of teachers, and that pool was created by State District Superintendent Anderson's Renew School co-location and school closure policies. And we have thousands of children and their families who face the uncertainty of how State Superintendent Cammie Anderson's so-called One Newark plan will affect their lives. And we are distracted and distracted and distracted. There is something new every day. On February 14th, I received a letter from the district on behalf of Cammie Anderson, basically saying that the occurrences at last month's meeting were my fault. And the letter requests that I show my cooperation with the appropriate decorum and adherence to district policy, et cetera, et cetera. And I will just read you a small part of my response. And my response was to Superintendent Anderson, State District Superintendent Anderson, you must take responsibility for your own actions. My responsibility is to ensure that the business of the district via the school board is conducted in an orderly manner according to statute and parliamentary procedure, and I have done that at every meeting. She made no attempt at the January meeting to do her presentation. She chose to walk off stage and exit prior to the presentation. In addition to that, it was obvious that Superintendent Anderson's walking off of the stage was planned. And it was obvious because of the number of police officers in the auditorium and behind the curtain. It was a planned escape. I was most proud at that meeting last month of the members of the Newark Board of Education who sit on this stage, who filled in the seats left vacant on stage, and who, in full cooperation, completed the agenda of the meeting, including listening to all speakers for public participation and completing the agenda of voting items. State Superintendent Cammie Anderson, you own this situation. For the third year in a row, you have forced your plans on the Newark community without the measure of stakeholder input that anyone, lay or professional, would consider adequate or respectful. You prefer to engage stakeholders who you know agree with you, as evidenced by the initial One Newark rollout at NJPAC. There has been no meaningful community dialogue. You cherry-pick the guests to hear your rollouts. You continually select small venues that are not conducive to parking, For example, you held the meeting for Weequahic and alumni, Weequahic and Shabazz alumni at the Chase Room in NJ-PAC, which only holds about 150 people, and where parking is expensive. You didn't answer questions which you had your staff solicit and collect on index cards from the audience. And then you exited the meeting without anyone even announcing that the meeting was over. And it's very difficult, I'm sure, for anyone to imagine that this really happened, but this did really happen. I believe that the superintendent is obviously aware of the depth and the breadth of community discontent, and I know that she is aware of it, and this is evidenced by her absence from this meeting this evening. And this takes me to the next thing that I would like to talk about, and that is a letter that went out today. It's called an open letter to Newark families, and so I assume, Newark families, that you will get it, but at this point the board has it, and I'm just going to talk about one small part in that letter. The letter is a very long letter. I will read the first page of the letter. The most important part of the letter. The first paragraph of the letter simply talks about how wonderful the One Newark program is. I will skip that and I will go to the second paragraph. We have come to realize that one particular venue, the monthly meetings chaired by NPS School Advisory Board, are no longer focused on achieving educational outcomes for children. The dysfunction displayed within this forum sets a bad example for our children, and it is no longer a place where meaningful interaction and dialogue occurs between NPS and the public. As a result, Superintendent Anderson and the NPS leadership team will no longer attend these meetings until the SAB can commit to ensuring a space conducive to open dialogue with the community. So what that means is that the superintendent will not come to any more board meetings until I can control you. So, exactly. But what I would like to do right now is I would like to thank the NPS staff who did come here today. I would like to thank the NPS staff, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Hitchcock, Mr. Zarkanian, and who else? Ms. Merritt, Ms. Hardy, Ms. Jones, Ms. Deering, where's Ms. Deering? I know Ms. Deering is here. Mr. Salagay. Oh, wait a minute, I see too many people. Thank you to the staff who did come out this evening. Thank you for your support. And I want to end by saying that with all of the power vested in me, by the citizens of Newark, by the voters of Newark, by the 9 members of the Newark Board of Education, State District Superintendent Cammie Anderson, I admonish you for the destruction, the dysfunction, and the disenfranchisement that you have attempted to inflict on the Newark community. Shame on you, shame on you. If you are able to feel shame, shame on you. You can run, Cammie Anderson, but you cannot hide from the Newark community. Running and hiding has got to be a miserable life. But it is your life while we grow stronger and more organized, and you cower in your corner. Thank you. Okay,
Madam,
yes. Mr. Hassan?
Mr. Hassan,
Yes.
vote on the minutes first.
Madam Chair, I move to amend the current agenda by removing item 9, report of the State District Superintendent, to be replaced with approval of minutes, which should be immediately followed by the board votes and public participation.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis.
Okay, moved by Mr. Hassan, second by Mr. Lewis.
Can someone
All in
recite?
favor of amending the agenda in accordance with Mr. Hassan's desire? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Agenda amended.
We will now vote on the approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I move that we now vote on the approve the board minutes from the November 26, 2013, October 22nd, 2013, October 15, 2013, September 24, 2013, September 17, 2013, August 20th, 2013, and June 18, 2013 as one block of items.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Hassan, second by Mr. Lewis to move these minutes as one. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? That carries. Motion to vote?
The motion for the actual vote.
I need a motion to vote on the minutes now.
Motion.
Moved by Mr.
Moved by
Lewis.
Mr. Lewis,
Second, Hassan.
second by Mr. Hassan. It's the motion to actually vote approval of these minutes. Mr. Hassan?
Aye.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Perello?
Yes.
Mr. Rashidi?
Yes.
Mr. Selinger?
Abstain.
Chair Basketball Richardson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Minutes approved.
Madam Chair, I move that we now vote on the following items: academic services and finance items as one block, with the exception of item 16, which is P9, request for proposal number 8344, which should be referred back to the Finance Committee for further review.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is he including that? Are you including academic services?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
all right, let's do it this way. First of all, I didn't realize that Dr. McCreary had come. Dr. McCreary, for the record, you vote yes on the minutes? Yes. You want to move Mr. Hassan on the academic services and the finance operations items, but you want to pull item 16, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so let's have a motion to pull item 16, P9. All in favor? I'm sorry, I need it's Mr. Hassan. Who's the second?
Second.
Okay, so this is just a motion to yank item 16. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, so we're going to yank number 16. Now we need a motion to vote on the rest of the block.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Hassan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lewis. This is a motion to vote on the academic service one item and the finance operations items together with the exception of 16. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, now we need a motion to actually vote on those items.
So moved.
Mr. Hassan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lewis. This is a motion to vote on the one academic service item and all finance operation items. Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
Mr. Kenny.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Ms. Perello.
Yes.
Dr. McCreary.
Yes.
Mr. Rashidi.
Yes.
Mr. Selinger.
Yes.
Chair Basketball Richardson.
Yes.
All items approved.
Thank you. We will now move to public participation. Yes, Ms. Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. We have an overflow room in the cafeteria, and there are speakers in the cafeteria. How we will coordinate that is we're going to call probably 2 names at a time. If you are in the cafeteria and you hear your name being called, please make your way to the auditorium so that you may have the opportunity to speak as you have requested. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Okay, this is the public participation portion of the meeting. As a reminder, time limits for all speakers are enforced. There's no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. All speakers are required to give names and addresses. The public participation portion of the meeting is limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Examples of unaccepted behavior that will not be permitted include, but are not limited to, naming district employees and engaging in personal attacks, slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempting to disrupt a meeting, or inciting others to do so. As a reminder, public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public the opportunity to address the board and administration on issues of public concern, not as a forum for two-way dialogue with board members or district officials. The superintendent's designee or board chair may respond to questions either at the end of the public participation session or responses may be provided at a later time. The superintendent's designee or chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any individual's speaking privilege if the speaker's comments are disruptive or obscene. Any individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and the individual may be liable for his or her statements. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board members or district officials, repetitive truculent speech, or disregard of the rules of decorum are not tolerated and may subject the individual or group to removal from the building. If necessary, the meeting may be adjourned.
Thank you. Our first speaker, I'll call the first two speakers. The first speaker is Ashley Bernard. The second speaker is Ryan Pagan. Next speaker is Ski Nicholson, followed by Mary Coles. These are students. If they come in, we'll let them speak next. LaTanya Waller and Alex Warredo. Marie Islam and Khadija Bati. Patience Roberts, and she's a cafeteria. Okay. Okay. After Patience Roberts is Jamani Montague.
Jamani Montague, 588 Huntington Street, and I'm here with Youth for Baraka. Earlier this month, a teacher told me that speaking at advisory board meetings is not considered taking action. And personally, I completely disagree, and I want to remind everyone very quickly of why we, the students, come to these meetings. We come to these meetings to be educated about what's going on in our school system and to learn how we'll be affected by it. We come to these meetings to be reminded of the powerhouse in our city and how many people in our community dedicate themselves to the future of education in Newark. And most importantly, we come to these meetings to have our voices heard. And although Kimmy Anderson obviously doesn't care about what the students think, if she did, she would run things by us before implementing new policies directly affect us, or better yet, be here. But it's important that we still come together and voice our collective concerns, because not only does it show her that we will not be silenced, but it also shows everyone else that we care about what's happening in our city. And I think that being vocal about injustice is the first step towards change. First, I want to discuss the issue of selling public property to private organizations, i.e. closing down public schools to open up charter schools. If you want an honest opinion of how the students feel outside of Jordan's monthly report, is that the people who don't resemble us are always trying to disturb or interfere with our education. And I don't want anyone to take that any type of way. I'm just being conscious of the people who live like I do versus the people who own these charter schools, who work downtown, who approve things like removing magnet statuses and the One Newark plan without first running it by the community that they're imposing it on. I've heard the people compare the One Newark plan to Questbridge. And for those who don't know, Questbridge is a full scholarship that allows high-achieving, low-income students to rank top 8 schools, and the first on our list to accept them is where they attend. I'm a product of Newark Public Schools and the Questbridge recipient, so I will be the first to say that they are completely different. One is optional and one is forced. One offers a variety of excellent choices, and one offers a range of good schools to failing schools. One was created to help those in working class communities, and one is setting us up for failure. Colleges pay attention to what school we go to, and you can't tell me that students who go to Science and West Side are viewed as equal. I've done my research, and I believe that in the long run, the One Newark plan can either be a complete success or a complete failure. But right now, we don't know, and it angers me that Cammie Anderson views our education as her science project. I don't want to sound repetitive, so I'll just stop here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Miss Coles, and I was just stopped because they said, let the students speak. Well, I am a student at Newark Evening High School, adult high. Okay. And Cammie Anderson says that we're dysfunctional and setting bad examples. I don't know if fighting for our children is a bad example. She's dysfunctional. And her flunkies too. I asked questions to Brad Haggerty about where would the credits go when they stop Newark Adult High. He said that it's only for Newark, they would keep it at West Kinney, but only for Newark residents. Forget about Essex County. Just Newark residents only. So I said, well, where will those other students' credits go? When he came back to give me an answer, his answer was, he don't know. That's sad. The school changing, with it just being Newark residents, that's just a reason to sabotage Newark Adult High School. I am a student of Newark Adult High School, and I will be graduating June 18th. But it just ain't about me, and I say it all the time, because I will get mine. It's about those who come after me. Another thing is, they said that we don't need no principals. This is what Brad Haggerty says. So not only are they trying to limit our education, but limit our jobs. It hurts me. You know, some stuff you just can't read off a piece of paper. You know, it saddens me that I got children in school, I got grandchildren in school, and it took courage for me to go back to school. And everybody don't have this courage to go back to school. Cammie Anderson doesn't live here, and if we allow her to come here and destroy us, then that's a problem we have. This is a fight that we will never surrender to until we win. As long, even when I finish, as long as I have breath in me, I will continue to fight for this education. When I walked into Newark Adult High School, I didn't know how I was gonna make it. And the wonderful teachers that helped me along the way kept me there. There's chances for other people to come in and get the same treatment that I got and show them that they can do it too. Come June 18th, when I'm handed my high school diploma, that's the beginning of a new life for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Patience Roberts. I reside in 175 First Street, Newark, New Jersey. I am here speaking for all schools, but my children do attend FLAG, which is scheduled for renewal. We all know who and what the problem is. The who are capitalists and the what is capitalism. This is all about money, people. This has nothing to do with our children's education. There is no gray area in this fight. If we are talking about quality education for all our children, there is no room for a One Newark plan, because that plan does not provide quality education for all our children. And we are past talking. We're done with this talking. Cammie does not even respect us enough to be here. So what is there to talk about? It's time for action. We need to show her how serious we are. So I say this to all parents, all students, all schools. Don't wait till it comes to your school, because this is not a Newark problem. This is not a New Jersey problem. This is an American problem. Public education is at stake here. So if you want to sit there and think that, oh, my school is okay this year, or my school is okay next year, no, it is not. We are all on the chopping block. So for all these PTSOs and PTAs and PTOs, we really need to unify. You know, we have like I say, my children go to Flag, and then there's Sussex, and there's, even in this area, Rafael, Hernandez, there's Horton, all these schools located in one area. We really need to start getting together in our area and then spreading out throughout the whole city. Because again, like I said, it might not be your school this year, but best believe it will be your school.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Khadija Bhatti. I'm a sophomore at University High School. I'd like to start off with a bravo to Cammie Anderson for driving away the only hope that was embedded within University or even Newark. It was pretty devastating coming into sophomore year without 3 of my freshman year teachers, but it's okay because the imprints they left on me were perpetual. However, it's pretty saddening walking through the hallways of my school and not receiving the same empowerment I had last year. Let me start off by stating my disgust with the springboard curriculum being forced down our throats. It's ironic how the same letters from Birmingham jail by Dr. King is in my textbook, in my sophomore textbook. That is a focus in February's principals meetings throughout the district. Though Dr. King's text clearly isolates an endorsement of retaliation via civil disobedience when the oppressed are condemned, so why suspend teachers and principals who are only engaging in the very same methods Dr. King took to fight back from all the wrong they faced? How hypocritical. Cammie endorses civil disobedience and how it's justified through Dr. King's letters, yet when someone does exactly what's embedded within his speech, they get penalized. So Brad Haggerty or whoever is a part of Cammie's team, can you tell Cammie to stop waving her privilege in the faces of the demonized and that she should suppress the urge to oppress? Continuing, in a letter from November, by adjusting the school closings of November 7th and 8th, Cammie goes, my team embraces your hopes and dreams. We listen. Too bad your ears don't stretch as far as your ego. Where do you even begin to put our voices on an equal pedestal as yours? So get this, Cammie Anderson in the same letter goes, the more time your child has to learn, the less opportunity for trouble, but everywhere we look, you're taking away. She talks about extra opportunities for us children to learn, but cuts an hour from the only after-school day program for students, the student center. Despite increasing enrollment, students are more enthusiastic than ever and are getting neglected and being thrown into the streets, which, if I don't recall, is something Cammie feared because kids are criminals when they're on the street. Not only do we lose in the classroom, with the one time students can regain, their time gets cut short and activity starts to decrease. Students soon linger along with their education where money should be put into the only after-school development programs gated towards helping students rather than funding it and cutting hours. The future of Newark's children is in the hands of the 21st century Christopher Columbus, whose only job was to take away. There is a clear coalition between Cammie and the 16th century oppressor, and Cammie, it's time we reverse history.
Next speaker.
Tony.
Next speaker, Poppy Roberts and Kristen Talcanian.
Tony, can we have her submit that to the board?
Yeah, she left that. Poppy Roberts, Kristen. Okay, if they come in, let them speak. Sapphire Allen and Cindy Guman. Okay. Tanasia Brown, Tiffany Fotopoulos. Christian Moraes, and Jelani Walker. Kevin Sedano. Shamanique Jones. Miss Jones? Okay, Kristen?
Sorry about this. I was stuck in the cafeteria.
We understand.
Just a second. Thank you. Sorry, it's starting up. You want me to let someone else go?
Okay, sure. If we have another speaker whose name has been called, please come on down, and then Kristen can come up. Any student whose name has been called, you can line up.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Sapphire. I go to Newark Vocational High School. I'm a junior. 301 West Kenny. This was directed to Cami Anderson, but since she's not here, I'll just direct it to the board. My mom always told me to stand up against bullies. Well, today is the day. Cami was sent here by Chris Christie to seek and destroy our own schools. Well, public schools. When my mom transferred me from Eastern School District, I chose Newark Vocational because of the culinary program. I love to cook, and she's trying to send us to Westside. Westside doesn't accommodate our culinary program. What would you do about that? We're not for sale, neither is the school. Boycott One Newark.
Thank you.
Got it this time. My name is Kristen Tokanic, and I'm president of the Newark Students Union. I'm here to read a petition that is going to be put out by the Newark Students Union. The demand is to tell Chris Christie and his schoolyard bullies that education workers matter to our students' future. Cami Anderson, the Christie-appointed superintendent of Newark Public Schools, is escalating her attack on our public schools. This time, she's attempting to further destabilize schools and neighborhoods by destroying the relationships between students and our teachers. Dedicated teachers that we rely on to help build a strong foundation for our future. Cami is requesting permission from the State Education Commissioner, Chris Cerf, to use a waiver of equivalency to fire hundreds of education workers with no consideration for seniority or tenure. This shreds the basic rights of union workers, but in the teaching profession, it also hurts students like us who rely on stable relationships with experienced and professional school staff. Research proves that high turnover rates in high school students, especially the children of the working class families who are already economically disadvantaged. And let us be clear, Anderson's One Newark and her attack on Newark Public Schools is disproportionately targeting low-income, working-class communities and communities of color. Anderson desperately needs this waiver to remove the tenured teachers so she can fill a $100 million budget shortfall over the next 3 years that she created by hiring hundreds of inexperienced TFA teachers to push older, higher paid teachers out of their schools. By hiring dozens of consultants in the place of experienced educators, and by promoting expansion of charter schools that funnel money out of traditional public schools. She figures that if she dedicated work on behalf of our fellow students, then she could fill much of the budget gap and eliminate unionized workers at the same time. Her Christie-appointed colleague, Commissioner of Education, Christopher Serp, is expected to approve her request just days before he leaves his post on March 5th. How convenient. As a student in Newark Public Schools, our teachers' influence and support extends far beyond what is in the textbook. Our teachers and school staff have spent countless hours on the lives of advising, teaching, and simply talking with us during lunch times, after school, at sporting events, plays, concerts, college days, and many other school-related activities. The proof of their work is clearly evident in all of the data. Newark Public Schools met standards for gaining local control from the nearly two-decade-long occupation set by the state CUSAC rubric, a measure established by the state to protect the control of over our schools. After a meeting, those standards moved the goalposts in order to maintain control and prevent Newark communities from having a voice in our schools. Anderson has a vision for Newark schools. Privatize the system, socialize the cost, and subject students to inexperienced Teach for America teachers for poverty wages under dictatorial conditions. This is not fair to the dedicated teachers who have given decades of their lives to Newark students. This is not fair to us, the students, who rely on their training, knowledge, and experience as teachers and educators to help us build the foundations we need to be successful in our lives. This is not fair to the communities of Newark, to our city, or to our future. Thank you.
Thank you.